politics, people politics, help the ecosystem, pollution to our environment. Talk about hydropolitics, anything. You want to take a part. You want to have your voice heard. You want to get involved in environmental friendly and stop polluting. I'll give you a bit of detail. Firstly, please subscribe, share. I want more. You have to get involved. Speak to one of your local constituency MPs. I'm a Conservative trainee councillor at the moment. I'm looking at all business, so the sociological side of things in business. How does it interrupt in our business? Maybe their business too close to a suburban area in a state of criminology. Anyway, as a member, if you want to become a member, as a member, you can play a key role in the party, supporting the work we're doing in government and contributing the ideas, policies and future of the party. You'll be invited to join us at party and to attend local and national events. And if you're just joining us, once you've been a member for 3 months, you can also take part in the party elections. To reduce our environmental impact, we are no longer issuing plastic membership cards. Please be assured that this does not impact your membership. You will never be asked to produce a card to provide your membership. Our members are our most important campaigners. Your support is enabling us to build a bright future. You feel you'd like that, have a takeaway at the weekend or have a takeaway once a week. It's nothing, is it? It's nothing at all. Or go to the pub, spending money on, just cut down the activities. You want to help have your voice heard. It's very important. What your membership gets you, does it get you fish and chips? Well, what's it get you? It's very important to subscribe to Proclamation News and Gavin's, giving you the key evidence of what's entailed of signing up with a party. I'm Conservative. I always say it's bona fide Conservative and working on progressive progression. You can help us win elections. All of your subscription goes towards our campaigns. It gets the latest from inside the party, with regular member updates and exclusive member invites. Take part in our campaign groups like our Conservative Women's Organisation, Young Conservatives, or Conservative Friends. Conservative Friends candidates and vote for leadership elections, so you can choose the people you want to represent you. Come to party conference and spring forum. Join our MPs, councillors and activists at the biggest events of the Conservative Canada. Connect with local Conservatives as a member. You'll become part of your local association, support local campaigns and attend social events with members just like you. So it's, being a part of something, it's like, supporting your local football team, supporting the whole environment. Talk about supporting the government. It's being part of something. It's very important to be part of something. You want to be something, you want to go somewhere, so you need to wake up and pay attention. Stand for election as a member. You have the opportunity to stand for election as a Conservative. So if you decide that you want to take part in that democracy, you can. This is Proclamation News and Gavin's with the prodigious diploma professor at PNG, ladies and gents. Help share and subscribe. I need more listeners. I put a lot of entertainment onto my YouTube channel, singing, all kinds of entertainment, a bit of comedy. I've had a bit of comedy in the recent past. It's worth following my YouTube channel to get an insight. It's good content. It's good. I've got a lot of segments on my YouTube. Like an entrepreneur as such. Singing, rapping, all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to bring a wider audience into my YouTube channel. It should be a YouTube channel with massive gatherings, but not enough subscribers. So the more subscribers, the more benefit is for me. This is a business, a small growing business. It needs to be backed by the exchequer with a big paycheck, and we get this ball rolling. This is Proclamation News and Gavin with a prodigious diploma professor. This has been going for over 2 years now. Media studies since 1994, 95, I believe. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me the time of day. Make sure you tune in. I'm going to be following through my live content just shortly. Take care, my love, and speak soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for actually coming in. I need more like-minded, etiquette, pragmatic people like yourself listening. I had an interview today with another, hopefully, proclamation news and governance consumer speaker, Tony Speaker, entertainer for the audience. I can't wait. Had an interview over the phone. We're going to meet up possibly sometime next week, have a coffee. They studied university, PhD in English, and also events manager as well. So we can bring a different, diverse across the platform of board seat journalism. Possibly a bit more entertainment because you guys that's must like a bit of showbiz. No business like show business. Anyway, as we start, I just want to say thank you all for coming in supporting the show time and time again. It's that time. It's that time. Think safety. Think first. I'm going to give you proclamation news and gatherings, 10 commandments. Do not enter your vehicle under sleep deprivation. Say you went out the night before with your friends. Do not go to work or go to drop your kids off or pick your kids up the next day. You're under sleep deprivation. You might fall asleep, but it will cause an absolute tragic accident. You know, it's causing harm to you and your family and others on the road. So think safety, think first. Do not enter your vehicle under the influence of alcoholism or narcotics. It takes 24 hours to get either out your system. So think safety, think first, or not do any at all. Check for road safety signs. For further police instruction, check both wing mirror and centre wing mirror before acting, turning over into a new directional choice, making sure pedestrians and motorcyclists are not in front or taking over as you turn. Obviously, but you know, some people don't always think. A lot of incidents happen. Check your water coolant tank and engine oil to make sure they are topped up before takeoff. Checking PSI limits to make sure you have enough tyre pressures and are topped up to sufficient PSI limits. Making sure you have enough tyre tread and your tyres are not bald. Making sure you and passengers have seat safety belts on before takeoff. And babies have seat adapters and seat belts adjacent to the car seat. Down to your driver to make sure they have these on. I'm going to tell you about the reported incidents inside the in 2019, last year, before we come into the new year. How many incidents happen in UK roads due to ill treatment of using the roads, maybe on a mobile phone, or sleep there, eating a packet of crisps out of the bag while driving, not pulling over. The statistics on reported road casualties in Great Britain for the year ending June 2019. It shows there were 1,870 reported road deaths. It's a slight increase compared to the year ending 2018. However, this change is not statistically significant. Also, there were 28,820 people killed or seriously injured. 157,630 casualties on all severities, a decrease of 5%. There's a public inquiries for road safety statistics. Public inquiries 02079446595. There you go. I'm going to give you some road updates. We've got road updates. We've got a lot of tragics going on today, so make sure you stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Stay safe. And yeah, I'll give you the updates. Give you updates. Stay safe as you're joining the road. Please subscribe. Please share. It's important to get this message out there to the younger generation. Taking my content lightly enough, thinking actually he's doing something. He doesn't even drive. Why does he care? I get on public transport. Why do I care? Mind you, I did have a company ring me up today. I heard that you car accident. Was you involved in the car accident? I went, yeah, I was. Yeah, just yesterday. I was on a bus. So I was on a bus yesterday. The bus crashed. There's so many casualties. I broke my back. And they said, "Oh, hang on, I'll just pass you over." I told the line manager, whoever it was, behind him, trying to sell me some load of rubbish, or he's trying to make money. Or he hung up the phone because he knew I was joking. But that's what you got to do, because people waste your time. You get these phone numbers that waste your time. But one day, you never know, they might do something and save someone, but usually 9 times out of 10 it's a waste of time. If I had an injury, I'll be ringing up a small claims court or something anyway. I wouldn't need their help, to be honest, but help as well. you need it. If you had an incident, just checking in on the road map, ladies and gents. Where are we? Almost where we want. Sheffield, got a long way to go. Nottingham, not far, not far, not far. Right. Bear with me, ladies and gents, taking a little bit slower than usual. We can zooming in on the local roads. Somewhere anyway, somewhere about. Traffic alerts, please. There we go. Colchester. Bit slow today. Got one in Colchester. A133. Traffic shift construction on the A133, Andrews Avenue and around Waitrose is reported on the 6th of November 2020 at 18 minutes past 3 p.m. It's still there now because I see it. Another one in Colchester. Construction contemporary reported on 20th of November. This region, quarter past 2 p.m. Dixon going up to near towards London area. Great. I've got a few listeners from that surrounding. You've got one in Great Holland, Walton on Naze, gas main work, temporary traffic signals due to gas main work on B1442, Fort Road at Stevenson Road. On the 6th of November, that was reported. It's still there now at 5 minutes past 2 p.m. 33 temporary traffic signal due to construction B1033, Fort Road at the Masala Indian. I know exactly where that is. I can depict it in my brain. That was reported on 20th of November, 5 minutes past 2. There's one in Hybrids, not far from my constituency where I'm sitting now. It's that old, I'm not even going to bother. Haver Hill. Hang on, man. Spin. Zoom out a second. Cambridge. Stevenage, here we go. Getting somewhere. I'll give you the first incident, man. Luton. We've got an incident in Luton, ladies and gents. Hemel Hempstead, all around them areas, Potter's Bar. Stay tuned, and we can get into today's tragic news after that. A5065 Hatters Way, tree cutting temporary traffic signals on Hatters Way between Hatters Way Park and A6 Telford Way. That was reported 24th of November, it's still there at 9:30 a.m. Hemel Hempstead, ladies and gentlemen. Potter's Bar. Queue traffic in the construction area. Queue traffic on M25 clockwise from A1081 St Albans. Line is closed after junction 23 Mims for work. 26th November at 4:17 reported. There you go. We're going to go have a little look around London for a couple more incidents, and then we're going to move on. Think about planning your destination before entering your vehicle. Be safe, not sorry. As we come into London from Ilford Way, because that's probably the way you will go in. If you're coming from Essex, A406, lane or lanes closed, emergency repair, queuing traffic All merger pairs on A56 north from South and at A12 Eastern Avenue at the roundabout. Lane 102 is closed. Hornchurch. Hornchurch A124 delays of 1 minute and delays increasing A124 High Street eastbound between the close and the station lane. Average speed 15 miles per hour. 26th November. That is reported. Thank you all, ladies and gents. We are moving on. We are moving on. I'm somewhat overwhelmed, you guys. Keep supporting the show. If you can share it, sharing is caring. You know what? It means the world to me. Thank you all so much for supporting the show time and time again. Christmas cupboard balls. It's what we want to know. What's happening at Christmas? You're planning ahead. Everyone done a Christmas shopping. Proclamation news and Gavin's. Thinking prompt. Thinking smart. You don't want to go around all shops when the shops are open on the third day. You know, risk the chance of catching COVID. So, do you shop online? Do you shop online? I was in Tesco's earlier. It's so packed. Imagine all the people. How many people in there were convicted of COVID? I was walking around. I had my mask on, but you still worry about them coughing in your face. There's spit going in your eye. Can I still get COVID? They spit in my eye. I got my mask on. Christmas COVID rules. Who are you allowed to see? Who are you allowed to see? Who would you go and see? Your parents, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, or just your mates? You know, a lot of people probably that like drink or like a knock. Could we go around a group of mates instead and pick that bubble and they won't make fun of parents because you'd be risking your parents' life, wouldn't you? So have a think safety, think first, and stay in that circle. As I'm suggesting. At Christmas, coronavirus restrictions will be eased to allow people to mix with a slightly wider circle of family and friends. Across the UK, people will be able to form bubbles of three households over a 5-day period. Who can be in your bubble will depend on where you are. What can I do for Christmas? 3 households can form a temporary Christmas bubble from the 23rd to the 27th of December. They can mix indoors in private homes and stay overnight. No travel restrictions in the 5-day period. You can't go to the pub or restaurant with your bubble. If you have coronavirus symptoms or are self-isolating, you cannot join a bubble. You can meet people outside your Christmas bubble outdoors, but only in line with rules of the tier where you are staying. Maximum 8 people in Scotland, not including under 12s in Northern Ireland, 22nd to 28th. Who am I allowed to see? Between the 27th and the 27th of December, the 3 households in a Christmas bubble can mix indoors and stay overnight. Northern Ireland has a window of 22nd to 28th December to allow time to travel between nations. Bubbles will be allowed to meet each other in each other's homes at a place of worship, in an outdoor public space or garden. The bubbles will be fixed so you'll not be able to mix with the 2 households on Christmas Day and 2 different ones on Boxing Day. Households in your Christmas bubble can't bubble with anyone else. There will be no limit to the number of people who can join a bubble in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, although the English guidance says it should be as small as possible. But the Scottish Government has said Christmas bubbles should contain no more than 8 people. Children under 12 will not count in the total. The rules about the count as a household also depend on where you are. In England, if you have formed a support bubble with another household, that counts as one household. So you can join with 2 other households in a Christmas bubble. Have you got your Christmas turkey at the ready and your champers? Some people like champers on Christmas Day, don't they, to celebrate the traditional period with your family, loved ones and friends. The Scottish Government guidance says any Christmas bubble should contain no more than 1 extended household. People who are self-isolating should not join a Christmas bubble if someone tests positive or develops coronavirus of up to 48 hours after the Christmas bubble last met. Everyone will have to self-isolate. You will still be able to see other people who are not in your bubble outside your home, subject to the rules of the tier where you are staying. Where am I allowed to travel in the UK? The travel restrictions will be lifted to allow people to visit their families anywhere in the UK, but the government has warned that they will not be extra public transport laid on. It has urged people to plan their travel in advance. What are the rules going to the pub or restaurant? You'll be allowed to go with your Christmas bubble to hospitality settings such as pubs, restaurants, or entertainment venues. You can meet people outside your Christmas bubble, but only outside the home in line with the tables of the area in which you are staying. Places you can meet including park, beaches, open countryside, public gardens, allotments, and playgrounds. Will COVID rules be different for New Year's Eve? Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said the relaxation restrictions will not be extended to cover New Year's Eve. She said, I know New Year is special for people, perhaps slightly more so in Scotland than other parts of the UK, but the virus is still there. The planned firework displays in Edinburgh and London have been cancelled. What if a family member is in at risk group? The virus will not call a truce. It is Christmas, but will be as contagious as at any other time. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said, even if it is within the rules, meeting friends and family over Christmas will be a personal judgment, the government says. People should consider the risks to themselves and others, particularly who are vulnerable. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon urged people to use the Christmas rules responsibly and only if you think it is necessary. Can all my children come home for Christmas? Children aged under 18 whose parents live apart are allowed to be part of two separate bubbles, Christmas bubbles. This means they can see both parents without being counted as part of another household. University students may return to their parents in early December, travel window, and be counted as part of their household straight away. But if parents have 3 or more grown children who are not at university, they cannot all form a Christmas bubble with their parents. Individual households can split for Christmas, so if 3 people are sharing a home, they can all go and form separate Christmas bubbles with their families and come back to form a single household again afterwards. What if I'm in care home or want to visit someone else who is? In England, care home residents have been told not to take part in Christmas bubbles, while visits out of the home should only be considered by residents who are working age. This is because of the increased risk of the resident catching coronavirus and spreading it to other vulnerable people when they return, the government says. People are asked to consider whether visiting a care home would provide meaningful contact in a safer, while residents who do leave will be tested and asked to isolate when they return. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to carry on. We're going to keep pushing on. P&G at its finest hour. Absolute finest, divine elevation kind of hour. Proclamation, news, and gatherings. Thank you all for actually coming together, supporting the show time and time again. P&G in the place to be. It's what I like. This is my place to be. I'm in my absolute element. I'm in my absolute element of my own bubble. In my own bubble. COVID, can we have a pub lunch on Boxing Day? And other questions. And any other questions? The government has announced which tiers and areas of England will be informed on 2nd December. How are some of your questions about the new rules and other related topics? Here goes. Here's a question and answer. My husband and I have arranged to go out for lunch on Boxing Day to a local pub with my daughter and family, 6 people in total. Will this be allowed? No, as things stand, because Warwickshire has been placed in a tier 3 system, which means pubs are closed but can sell takeaways or deliveries. The tier gradings will be reviewed every fortnight, and any changes to the initial announcement will take place on 16th December. So unless Warwickshire has moved into the tier 2 on that date, you will not be able to go to your local pub on Boxing Day. As hotels and B&Bs must close in the tier 3 areas, where can I stay overnight for a funeral which is too far away to travel in a single day? Hotels and B&Bs in the tier 3 areas of England are allowed to accept guests for certain reasons, one of which for people who have to attend a funeral. Different households staying in a hotel must stay socially distant from each other inside the accommodation. People should not travel on their own or only members of their household or support bubble only. If this is not possible, people should follow safer guidance, which includes open windows, travelling side by side or behind people rather than facing them, and wearing face coverings. Another person is writing in, I have children, age 11 and 15, with my ex-wife. Can I collect them each Friday if we live in different tiers? Yes, you can. Children who don't live in the same household as both their parents or guardians are allowed to move between the adults to two homes. The children are also exempt from the limits on number of people can get together. This is questions and answers by Proclamation News and Gatherings. Proclamation News and Gatherings. My husband and I were on our own for Christmas, New Year's Eve, but want to see family before I fly home to America. Can we choose our own dates, say 15th and 19th December, as we won't be seeing anyone after that? No, you won't be allowed to do this, as Christmas bubble rules only cover the period from 23rd to 27th December in England and Wales, and the 22nd to 28th December in Northern Ireland. However, depending on where you live in the UK, you'll almost certainly still be able to meet up, but probably not all at once, depending on the size of your family, and most likely only outdoors, unless you are in your support bubble, or live in a Tier 1 area in England, or limits areas in Scotland. From the 2nd of December, the rule of six will apply to meeting people outdoors in England. It means that getting together in groups of more than six people is not allowed. The rule is the same in Scotland and Northern Ireland and in Wales. The limit is four people outdoors. Meeting indoors with people outside the household of your support bubble will only be allowed in the Tier 1 areas of England and very limited parts of Scotland. Hope you're enjoying the cast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for rightly coming in, supporting the show time and time again. We're going to get into a bit more of show business. Bit more of show business. Why not show business? We're talking about a bit of criminology. Nothing like a bit of criminology. Spices are sharp. It's a bit sickening, this story. Domestic abuse. 6 women murdered after reporting partner. It's a massive thing, isn't it? Domestic abuse to women. 6 women have been murdered since 2015 despite reporting their violent partners to the police. One woman contacted the police 8 times before she was killed. Figures obtained by BBC News Northern Ireland show. The family of one woman said legislation is needed to protect women. A new bill to strengthen Northern Ireland domestic abuse legislation is currently being considered by the Assembly. Police said they would come more protection in law for victims. Connie Leonard was murdered at home at the Maguires Bridge, County, the Farm Monarch, in 2017. Her brother Fergal said police need to be given stronger powers to tackle domestic violence. He told the BBC there are a number of matters I feel that could have been acted on and may have saved Connie's life. The last person in the world that I bought something would have happened to is Connie. Miss Leonard and her son Connor, who has Down syndrome, were attacked by 55-year-old Peter Fier, a former partner of Mrs. Leonard's. She had reported Fier 3 times before she was murdered, and she had taken out molestation order against him. Fier later took his own life. Absolute distraught provocation. Absolute men's rehabilitation to their partners. How can they? He took his own life now, but what an absolute shock for these families going through this absolute traumatic episode. Police, Mr. Leonard said, you must know what their powers are and that they use these powers effectively. There must be proper monitoring and follow-up, and officers must know what actions they are supposed to take. The Police Service of Northern Ireland, PSNI, which released the figures to the BBC following a Freedom of Information request, said it would welcome more protection in law victims of domestic abuse. Detective Inspector Lindsay Fisher said, in terms of legislation, police are very much bound by the uphold of the law. Therefore, we're always acting within the law in terms of our response to domestic abuse matters or any other crime. Police would welcome any further legislation that would support victims of domestic abuse and would seek to bring offenders to justice. Detective Chief Inspector Fisher urged anyone suffering from abuse to reach out to police or family members. She added that the PSNI is here to help victims of domestic abuse, and we do have enhanced support service in place. This is very, important for male figures to come forward as well to stop them. If domestic violence is getting held at you, you got to report it because you'll end up retaliating before it's too late. So you just doesn't matter. You're not a coward if you says your girlfriend throws stuff or hits you. You've got to do it because it could relate to you doing it back to them. Justice Minister Naomi Long said the process of strengthening Northern Ireland's laws is underway. Because don't get me wrong, dance sometimes takes, to dance with the devil to get burnt. So sometimes, it varies. Could be the woman's perspective that the man's causing that in the first place. But if you put a nip it in the bud before it happens, it's not going to happen. So, I'm trying to say it from both sides of the fence. So you can see, I'm trying to see it from an amicable point of view. She said she was wondering the introduction of domestic violence protection orders, which allow police in other areas of the UK to intervene, where they believe person to be at risk, but do not have enough evidence to bring a criminal charge, she said. I've signed off last night on a consultation process on domestic abuse protection notice and orders. That will happen over the next number of weeks. Separately, a bill strengthening domestic abuse legislation returns to Stormont in December. If anyone's listening and there's been an act of domestic abuse, please call in. Let me hear your story. Even if you cause domestic abuse to your partner, call in. Just, it's good to open up. We can just talk about it. Try and guide you in the right way for the future, rather than get you on the show to humiliate you. We're going to try and guide you to make you a better person. It will mean domestic abuse offences in Northern Ireland will no longer be limited to physically violent behaviour. It will make a form of bullying known as coercive control an offence in Northern Ireland for the first time. Convictions for the most serious domestic abuse offences will carry a penalty of up to 14 years in jail. It's important if you're going to live with your partner, it does get under each other's fingernails and toenails. You get under each other's skin sometimes. You need to get that even balance where you can get out of the house, air your stress out, go for a brisk walk, do some, go and cut the grass, cut the lawn, or take your kid for a walk, the dog for a walk, anything, just get out of the way, air the, discretion out. Not good enough. Sonia McMullen, for Women's Aid in Northern Ireland, said police need more robust powers in relation to domestic abuse, she said. Legislation is in other parts of the UK. It's not here in Northern Ireland. That is just not good enough in regard to protection orders and emergency orders. They would give the police more powers to remove the perpetrator and to get an order themselves. We need emergency barring orders and powers that take the onus off the victim, and where the police get that in order, with or without the victim's consent. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want to, you want to air it out, you can always get in contact with PNG, Proclamation News and Gatherance. Come and support the show. More tragic news. More tragic news, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for supporting the show. PNG is live on air. Thank you so much, everyone listening. People on the radio, story out. Bolton Park. This is another sporadic knife crime. It's what we always support on PNG. Sporadic knife crime. We need to preach it to our youth today, younger generation, carrying knives to school, youth clubs. You need to check your kids' bags on the way to school. Check your children's pockets. Make sure they're not taking any sharp objects to where they're going. Bolton Park. Stabbed death. Woman killed. A girl of 7, age of 7. That is absolutely shocking. A 7-year-old girl had her throat cut in a random attack at a park on Mother's Day. A jury at Manchester's Crown Court heard. That is sickening. A 7-year-old got cut her throat. A 7-year-old throat got cut. Emily Jones at the Queen's Park in Bolton with her parents when she was attacked by Eltonia Scannar, 30, on the 22nd of March. The court was told. Absolute sickening behaviour. Imagine how distraught their parents must be, sitting there watching a 7-year-old get cut by the throat. Miss Scanner, 30, has admitted manslaughter on the ground of diminished responsibility but denies murder. How can you deny murder? You just cut someone's throat. It wasn't me. I didn't kill her. It was the bleeding done it itself. I did cut her throat though. Come on, that is absolutely astonishing. She appeared at court via video link from a high security Rampton hospital. Michael Brady, QC, prosecuting, said Emily was on a scooter and had been brought to the park by her father, Mark Jones. Moments before the attack, Emily spotted her mother, Sarah Barnes, who was jogging around the park wearing headphones. Oblivious of the defendant, she called out to her mother and scooted towards her some yards ahead of her father. Thrown to the ground, Emily was grabbed by Miss Scanner, who is in one movement cut the girl's throat and threw her to the ground, said Miss Brady. He added, there has been no interaction between Emily and the defendant. In a statement read to the jury, Emily's father said, I do not know why this has happened. Emily was simply riding her scooter to her mum. I simply can't explain it. Miss Scanner, who brought the knife earlier that day, fled but was chased by Tony Corti, who was walking in the park with his wife Lindsay and their baby daughter. Mr. Canty barged Miss Scanner to the ground and detained her until the police arrived. After her arrest, Miss Scanner, originally from Albania, was assessed, telling on-call psychiatrist, I know I'm paranoid schizophrenic. She was detained under Mental Health Act. Miss Scanner was moved to the High Security Hospital at Rampton, where she told her psychiatrist, Dr. Afghan, she had been a psychotic, hearing and seeing things. Indifference to killing. While there she may have had a possible psychotic episode, and another time it was reported while watching a children's TV program, she began laughing hysterically when she saw a child who looked similar to Emily, the court observed. Miss Scanner said she was perfectly normal before coming to the UK and claimed asylum in 2014, she told medics. The jury was also told she showed indifference to the killing and spoke with a smirk, but also showed inappropriate emotional response when talking about her own family. Speaking to the nurse at Rampton, Miss Scanner said, like I said, it's been 3 months. What do you want me to do? Cry all the time? She later told the same nurse, it was premeditated. I waited in the park and picked my Vincent. I did what I did, then tried to run away. Miss Brady told jurors the main issue was whether Miss Scanner's paranoid schizophrenia is the reason behind the killing or her illness is simply a convenient excuse exactly behind which to hide. The trial is scheduled for 5 days. That shocking, absorbing information, absolutely ludicrous. Your 7-year-old's been stabbed, cut throat by a 30-year-old. It's an adult. You're a young adult. You go to kill a 7-year-old. What sort of remorse is that? You've got no backbone, you've got no guts, and you've got no glory. Taking a 7-year-old's life is absolutely ludicrous. You can understand if someone had to go to that extent to use a blade of someone attacking their mum or their father or them, really badly hurting them, making them really, so scared of anxiety they couldn't leave the house for the amount of day. But I've never used a weapon in my life. People shouldn't be losing knives. I support sporadic knife crime. I'm always advertising, do not let your, that's an adult, do not let your youngster take a knife out. But it's an adult, fully grown adult, should be life behind bars, the most disgusting human excrement, I was about to say exiles, but yeah, the absolute human excrement in the world, like rapists, paedophiles, all kinds of junk. That's where they should go. Cutting a 7-year-old's life, taking a 7-year-old's life away with a knife. Shooting someone, you can make an aim mistake, but a knife, you've gone up to a 7-year-old and cut that 7-year-old knife purposely. Is disgusting. That is qualitative evidence of a metropolitan lunatic asylum individual. It is shocking, absorbing information. I can't get my head over that. What do you make of that disgusting news? Boris Johnson appoints new chief of staff after Cummings' exit. Dominic Cummings' exit. What everyone's been waiting for. He doesn't practice what he preaches. He sets laws, he breaks them. Boris Johnson has appointed an ex-Treasury official as his new chief. to staff Downing Street as announced. Dan Rosenfield's appointment follows a period of upheaval which saw the Prime Minister's senior aides Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane resign. Mr Rosenfield is a former civil servant who has worked in the past for Labour Chancellor Alistair Darling and his Tory successor George Osborne. He'll begin work at Downing Street on 7 December. The current acting chief of staff, Lord Udnai Lister, will stay in the role until the 1st of January, when Mr Rosenfield will take over. Cleo Watson, one of the PM's deputy chiefs of staff, who is close to Mr Cummings, is also leading number 10. Mr Rosenfield joined the number 10 from Hakluyt and Strategic Advisory Firm. He also previously worked at the Bank of America, managing director, and is chairman of the humanitarian agency World Jewish Relief. The chief of staff role had originally been offered to Mr Kane, which some MPs and ministers objected to the appointment. And following a power struggle inside the number 10, both Mr Kane and his ally, Mr Cummings, stepped down from their roles. We're looking at something by the analyst Alex Forsyth, political correspondent. The senior job hasn't gone to a high-profile name from the Tory ranks, as some expected, but a civil servant. While he has worked at the heart of the government in this role at the Treasury, he is a relative outsider in current political circles. Those who know Dan Rosenfield describe him as likeable, clever and effective. One Treasury colleague said he was ordered and efficient. In the wheels are coming off, he'll want to try and put them back on, they added. Having been in the private sector in recent years, he's not thought to be attached in any particular faction in number 10. Perhaps that was part of thinking behind his appointment. After the recent turbulence that saw the departure of two of Boris Johnson's closest aides, Downing Street, we want to avoid any further internal division. Many have called for the reset moment. The Prime Minister may well hope this pick for Chief of Staff is part of that. Mr Rosenfield grew up in what he describes as a small Jewish community in Manchester. In an interview last year with the Jewish Telegraph, Mr Rosenfield describes Judaism as being pretty central to his life and says his local synagogue was his second home. He also recalls working in the Treasury during the 2008 financial crisis. It became very clear that we're dealing with some quite fundamentally difficult challenges, he said. People like Jeremy Corbyn as well, eh? You must love him. Speaking at the World Jewish Relief dinner in 2017, he said he was driven by the principle of rejecting a tragedy in the name of hope. Welcoming the appointment, ex-Treasury Minister David Guoc described Rosenfield as smart, likeable and effective, and a former Labour advisor, Damien McBride, said the PM's new recruit had a first-class brain and an easy smile. His previous employers, Hakluyt, and are a low-profile consultancy firm with offices in Mayfair, central London, as well as in New York, Mumbai, Singapore and Tokyo. The company said it is named after English writer Richard Hakluyt, because his role was in advancing knowledge of wider world in the 16th and the 17th century, reflects the firm's global interest and independence of thought. It is chaired by a Conservative peer, Lord Layton, who has recently given a role in coordinating the drive to the scalpel UK manufacturing of the personal protective equipment, PPE. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, on PNG, YouTube, Castbox and radio. I've got one more segment to get through. I'm going to celebrate for everyone, supporting me. Absolutely loyal supporters. That fella on the radio, thank you so much for sitting there. I'll be with you in about 5-10 minutes, buddy. Thank you so much, everyone, being patient. What is going on in this absolute crazy climate change? Sporadic knife crime, more deaths. Oscar Saxe-Elby. Lee returns in Worcestershire Christmas lights. A 6-year-old boy who had an aggressive form of leukemia switched on the Christmas lights in Worcester, in a city where people raised £1,000 to help save him. Oscar Saxe-Elby Lee, who lives with his family in Worcester, flew with his parents to Singapore for a CAR-T therapy. After more than £700,000 were raised through crowdfunding. Olivia Saxe-Elby, Oscar's mother, previously said that the therapy was not available to Oscar on the NHS. Any money left over from his treatment will go to the Grace Kelly Childhood Cancer Fund. Mr. Saxelby said, "Turn the Lights was a lovely way to end this year." Absolute phenomenal news, ladies and gents. Absolutely, absolutely. I've done a bit of a I'm supporting. I've got to talk about this. I was supporting all the sporting industry the other day through Parliament. I had to send a video thing over of people that do sports, athletics, professional boxing, football, any kind of sport. They're suffering. That's the absolute worst moment at this tragic time. This climate change for them is absolute distraught for their mental health. They need to keep physically tuned in like a fire engine. They need to be active every day. They can't go out in the bubble. They can't go and train on a running track because there'll be other people. They have to go at different times singly. Footballers play with their team. They ain't got their teammates because they can't play in their teammates. Diego Maradona. Thousands of fans mourn the footballer. Tens of thousands of Argentinians have been paying their final respects to Diego Maradona at the presidential palace of Buenos Aires, where his booty lies in the state. The football legend died on Wednesday at the age of 60. Maradona is one of the greatest footballers of all time, who played for clubs including Barcelona and Napoli. He was captain of Argentina in the 1986 World Cup, scoring the famous hand of God goal against England in the quarterfinals. Absolute tragic. Absolute legend has passed. Absolute legend. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to end that show there. Everyone on YouTube, Castbox. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. Speak soon.